All right, again, we're doing another Facebook Live today. Actually, I'm streaming on 3 platforms. I'm streaming on Instagram, YouTube, and on Facebook. We are producing a number of videos to try and get the word out there about healthy living, healthy mindsets for relationships, and to really expand the relate well influence in the culture in the church, so we can create healthy, loving, mature people that can create healthy, loving, mature relationships. I believe strongly that the goal of discipleship is to mature people in love, because the greatest of these is love. And I see a lack of that in my life. And so the real goal is to increase healthy, mature people so they can love well. All right. The hallmark of a really mature leader isn't that they're in a management position. That's called a manager. A mature leader is someone who is so secure emotionally with who they are that they can then invest in others, affirm others, build each other's up. They're able to be slow to anger. They're able to be quick to hear. They're able to speak their truth in a loving, caring way. All right. They don't disrespect others. They don't treat others with ill will. They always show empathy and care, because they're people of humility. There are 4 protectors that we teach from in the Relate Well curriculum, in the Relate Well process. It's goodwill, respect, humility, and empathy. Those are very powerful ways to live life. And all of our work is to encourage people to develop those 4 traits, because when you live those 4 traits, you're going to live a very secure person. You're going to be a very secure individual. If you don't live that way, you're going to hurt people along the way, because pride eventually is about you. And immature people in conflict tend towards pride. Mature people in conflict tend towards compassion and empathy. So what we're going to do today is talk about this idea of an orphan spirit, the orphan mindset, the mind of an orphan. A lot of people today I think I'm on a live over here. Okay, hang on. I just recognized that I had not turned the live button onto the Instagram. So now I got to get myself going on Instagram. For those who may have been watching on Facebook and YouTube, just forgive me for that. I'm learning a whole new way of doing things right now, folks. And so it's been a good challenge for me personally, but I'm grateful that I'm having the ability, you know what I mean? All right, so we're talking about this idea of an orphan mindset, all right? The spirit of an orphan. A lot of people grow up in broken homes today without a mom or a dad. And there are people in single parent homes who knew that they were a son and a daughter. When you know that you're a son and a daughter, you know that you're loved and you're valued as a son and as a daughter. You see, it's one thing to know that you're my parents. It's another thing to know that you value me as your son, as your daughter. There are 4 questions that every person needs answered early in life. And the failure to get these questions early in life will affect your ability to have intimate relationships later in life. And here's the 4 questions. Every person needs to know that they're valued. Do I have value? Secondly, everyone needs to know that they matter. Do I matter to you? Do I matter? Does it matter that I'm hurting? Does it matter that I'm struggling right now? You see, we all need to know that. The third one is we all need to know that we're lovable, that we are loved, and that we're lovable. And the 4th question every person needs answered in their life is, do I have a purpose? Am I just existing on this planet to exist? Or am I here because of a purpose, a meaning? That I have a purpose and a meaning, that I am not here just to exist, that I have something to do and accomplish in my life. So the 4 questions every person needs answered in life, in childhood: do I have value? Do I matter? Am I lovable and am I loved? And do I have a purpose? It is the parent's responsibility to treat children in such a way that imparts the answer to them in a positive way. but to the brokenness of the parents. And if they never got those questions answered for themselves, it's going to be very difficult for them to send the message, you matter, you're lovable, when they are struggling with it themselves. The idea is you can't give somebody something that you don't have. You can't impart into somebody something that you don't possess. All right. And so when a child believes that they matter, that they're lovable, that they're good enough, that they're adequate, that actually affirms them as a son and a daughter to the parents. In other words, you're my mom and my dad, and you want me in your life. You love me as your son. You value me as your son. You value me as a daughter. You value me. You desire me. I'm lovable because you keep telling me I am. And those kids who are confident in being a son and a daughter thrive in life. And I'm not talking about son and daughter by birth. I'm talking at the relational standpoint, that emotionally, you want me as a son. I have 3 children, 2 boys and a girl. They're adults now, of course. And I hope that they know that I value them as my son, that they value, and I value Madison as my daughter. That they have value to me. They matter to me. And my hope is that they always feel secure in their sonship. That Madison always feels secure in being my daughter. She never has to be insecure as to whether, do I really value you as a daughter? Do I really value you as a son? You see, orphans are people who never had a parent or who never connected to a parent who gave them that message. You can grow up in a home with a mom and a dad in the home, but still feel like an orphan, feel like you're an outsider, feel like you don't belong, feel like you don't matter, feel, you get it. And so many people today have an orphan spirit. Want a little secret? That was me. That was me. Now, I did not know that I did not know I have an orphan mindset. I knew where my dad was. He was always sitting over there. He was over there in that room watching TV and doing business, even at night, never interacting with us. I knew it was his son, but I never felt accepted as a son. I always felt like that I had to keep jumping hurdles just to get noticed as a son, particularly, and even with my stepmother, who always sent me messages, you're not good enough. Why can't you be like everybody else? Why do you have to be different? You'll never measure up. Those are things she told me over the years. I never felt secure that I was acceptable to her as a stepson. And so what I didn't know, it was a preacher buddy of mine who actually pointed out to me many years ago. He goes, you got an orphan mindset. I went, what is an orphan mindset? And he told me, I'm going to send you some things to read. And I'm going to tell you something. When I read those things, I was like, oh my goodness, I do have an orphan mentality. So what I want to do for the next, 15, 20 minutes is talk about the heart of an orphan, the orphan mindset. Because when you live the heart of an orphan, you're never really settled. You never feel like you're at home. So you go to drugs or alcohol or pornography or adultery. It's always like you're looking to be acceptable. You're looking to be affirmed. You're looking to be approved, that it's okay to be you. When that message should have been imparted to us in our childhood. Now, people who have an orphan mindset either become very, very independent or very dependent. There is no healthy interdependence, which is in the middle. You see, their dependency is I don't need anyone else. That's independent. I will do it my way. Get out of my way. I'm going to meet my needs my way. I don't depend on anyone. I can't trust anyone to be there. So I'm going to do it myself. So you get this self-reliant posture in your life that you don't need anyone. Where'd you learn that? Because you never knew that you're valued. Your needs weren't being met when you were a kid. So in your orphan mindset, you just said, fine, I'll do it myself. You ever notice orphans live that way? Orphans live with this mindset that I'm not going to get close to you. You're not going to get close to me. And by the way, I'll do it myself. I don't need anyone else. Because the orphan spirit doesn't trust others to love them, doesn't trust others to value them, doesn't trust that they will actually matter to another person. So you live in this independent spirit. And that independent spirit, though, robs you of intimacy, which is what your heart's really looking for and longing for, even at the deeper level, but you're not able to go there. Sadly, much of culture today reinforces an independent spirit. Even Western culture church forces that independent orphan mindset. Suck it up, get over it, just trust Jesus. That idea, pick yourself up by your own bootstrap. You don't need anyone else. And interesting, that is the opposite of how humans were designed. We are created for intimacy. We are created for connection. We are created for what I like to call the 59 one other verses that are in the New Testament, to encourage one another, support one another, comfort one another. Why? Because you matter, because you have value. You're not meant to live life alone. But independent, self-minded orphans don't believe that they matter, and they stiff-arm intimacy. Why? They don't want to have to face the hurt of rejection and abandonment again. So they stay in that orphan mindset. Another trait of the orphan mindset is you're never really secure. You live insecurely. You lack peace. It's like your heart can never really be home because you never really had a home. I never had a home in my dad's heart. I never had a home in my stepmother's heart. Matter of fact, up until I left home and joined the Navy, I can tell you this, I didn't have a home in anyone's heart. And so I didn't trust people to be there for me. I had to look out in case I was going to be rejected, in case I was going to be abandoned. You know, one thing that kids coming from broken homes learn about life is, particularly divorce homes, don't trust loyalty. People will reject you and people will abandon you. Sadly, you're seeing the same kind of treatment in the churches today and other organizations today. Businesses aren't loyal to their employees like they were 50, 60 years ago. Loyalty is out the door. And if there is loyalty, then it's conditional. It's a conditional acceptance. It's a conditional love. You're loved and accepted as long as you A, B, C, D, E. And when you do these things, you get love and acceptance. And orphans learn how to perform to get a sense of acceptance and love and value, only to find out that even if you do perform well, there's no real love there anyways, because it's all performance. It never really says that you're a son or a daughter, that you have value as you are. So that orphan mindset goes into our adult world where we're insecure and we lack peace. We're never truly at home. You know, we all need a place in life, those relations in life, that when I go to those people, I have no mask on. I can be hurt. I can be afraid. I can be angry. I can be struggling with thoughts in my head. And I can share those things vulnerably, not be attacked, not be put down, not be insulted. And yet in that, I find love and acceptance. Yes, there will be direction, and yes, there will be correction. But my heart is at home. It's at peace in those people's lives. Another trait of the orphan mindset is a constant strive for approval and acceptance and praise. That's that performance mindset. I have a PhD, 2 masters, a BA, an LPC, clinical fellow with the AAMFT, CIA, UFO, EIEIO, right? A lot of letters. But that was that orphan trying to keep jumping hurdles to get loved. The other side of that orphan mindset is those who just quit. They just give up. They don't try anymore. So they don't excel at anything. They just accept a job here, mediocre, and just do life. They just exist. That's the other way the orphan spirit can go. You become an overachiever, you just quit. You give up on life and you just exist. Why? Because both of those are manifestations of the idea that I'm not good enough, I don't matter. So some will strive harder to matter, and some just accept they don't and just give up and realize they never will. And they just exist. But they live in that mindset that they don't matter. They're not good enough. They can't accomplish. And a lot of those people never really do accomplish much in life. They never challenge themselves. They never better themselves. The overachiever gets a lot of praise, right? Because the orphan in that mindset is looking for praise, only to find out that all the praise down in your soul is really empty and hollow. Why? Because you're not doing it out of who you are. You're doing it because you're looking for love in all the wrong places and in all the wrong ways. Why your heart's still not at home. It's not at rest yet, you see. And so there's always that need for personal achievement in order to impress God, in order to impress other people, in order to impress your parents. You're always striving. Only to find out it never really works for you, you know? It never really works for you. Another trait of the orphan mindset is a sense of you'll compare yourself to others. And when you do, you're always going to fall short. You're going to fall short. A lot of self-rejection, self-loathing, this sense of that I'm never going to be good enough. Look at that person. He has that job, or he or she has that boyfriend or girlfriend, or they have that. Why can't I? It's because I'm not good enough. I'm not lovable. I don't matter. The mindset of the orphan. And you live that orphan spirit out in your relationships. And it hurts others and harms others. But in the end, you kind of know what you're doing. And there's more self-rejection, more self-loathing, more self-hatred, that sense that you're never going to be good enough. You're never going to thrive. And so what do? In all that pain, the orphan spirit will seek comfort in unhealthy ways. The orphan mindset will seek comfort in unhealthy ways, in counterfeit affections. You may go to alcohol or drugs or pornography or masturbation or workaholism or religiosity, religious addiction. You'll do it through escaping through reading, escaping through escape rooms, escaping through games. You see, you may escape through busyness. And those are counterfeit affections. Those are the things you turn to. And if I can turn to those things, the pursuit of money, those give me a feeling that I'm good enough, a feeling that I matter, a feeling that I'm worthy, a feeling that I'm secure, a feeling that I'm acceptable. But the reality is counterfeit affections can never really satisfy the human heart. Counterfeit affections never let you know that you have value and worth. Because counterfeit affections have one problem. The things you go to for affections are counterfeit. They don't work. They may work in a moment. You'll get a dopamine shot from whatever you're doing. Dopamine is a neurochemical in the brain that when it's released around pleasurable things, it's a mood shift into pleasure. So you may get that temporary release of dopamine that makes you feel better in the moment. But here's the problem. When it comes to counterfeit affections, that thing you went to for a source of pleasure, your dopamine shot, when that dopamine wears off in time, the source of your pleasure becomes the source of your pain. You're now addicted to it. You're now in bondage to it. This is what addictions really are. Addictions are actually attachment disorders. Addicts don't bond to people. I would argue that all addicts have an orphan mindset down deep inside of them. Patrick Carnes talks about the 4 belief system, core beliefs of an addiction. Number one is that I'm a bad, unworthy person. That if you really knew me, you'd see how bad I am, and I'm unworthy, I'm unlovable, the orphan mind. And because I'm a bad, unworthy person, I'm unlovable, that if you knew the real me, you wouldn't like me. If I took my mask off and you saw me, you'd reject me, you'd abandon me, you'd walk away from me. So the first of the core beliefs of an addiction is that I'm a bad, unworthy person, which then leads to the second core belief, that if I'm a bad, unworthy person, number two core belief, then no one's going to love me as I am. You're not going to love me as I am. So I have to become something that I think you want me to be, or that I become something that I think I'm supposed to be in order to get love. True love loves a person as they are, even with all their warts, even with their challenges, because you also recognize their strengths in them as well. But to the addict mind, I'm a bad, unworthy person, so no one's going to love me as I am. Well, if no one's going to love me as I am, then I have to become something that I'm not. We wear a mask, and you put the mask on. You know what the problem with wearing a mask is? As long as you wear a mask to hide who you are from others, here's the real problem. You get shortchanged. You don't get love. Your mask gets all the love. You get nothing. Did you get that? The mask gets all the love. You get nothing. And you know it down in your soul, down deep. But people are loving the mask, but they're not loving you because you keep hiding yourself. And since the first core belief is I'm a bad, unworthy person who only love me as I am, well, all humans have needs. So the third belief, core belief of addiction, flows from that. Then I'm going to have to meet my own needs because I can't trust others to be there. So now I got to look to me to meet my needs for comfort, my needs for acceptance, my need for approval, my needs for respect, my need for encouragement, my need for security. I got to look to others to meet those needs. Why? Because I can't depend on anybody else. Why not? Well, no one's going to love me as I am. Besides, I'm a bad, unworthy person. And then the fourth of the core beliefs is this. And this is where the addiction flows in. Sex becomes my most important need. Alcohol becomes my most important need. Drugs is my most important need. Gambling is my most important need. Religiosity is my most important need. Hyper-religiousness. All of those are counter affections. And the more you attach to those things, because of the orphan mindset, you'll have these counter affections and they can become addictive. And now you're in bondage to this thing. And you'll find in recovery that recovery is learning to take your mask off and be honest with the real self, who you really are. And you have to face all your defects of character. Why not try dealing with those things before you get it to be an addiction? The orphan mindset is always seeking comfort in counterfeit affections. It wants to compete. It'll make people rivals, all right? It moves towards jealousy and envy. It'll accuse other people of things. It'll always make yourself look good and you won't look bad. Did you get that? The orphan mind, not going to look good. The orphan mind is not going to look bad. So it's always going to look good. So in the heart of an orphan, if I do something, well, you're to blame. I did that because you did this. I'm not taking responsibility because the orphan spirit can't. If we learn to live as sons and daughters, now for that to happen, you've got to have someone who loves you as a son and as a daughter. I heard it said once that a man can never really be a father till he learned to be a son. I think there's some truth in that statement. Now, I know that everything's not 100%, but I think there's some truth in that statement. You don't know how to be a father till you learn to be a son. If you've never been a son, how do you know how to be a dad? You don't. Fortunately for me, two men came into my life, and there were other mentors in my life, but those two men taught me and gave me what I needed that my dad could not, that my stepmother could not. They invested in me. And by the way, that investment also meant they corrected me. They challenged me. They spoke not harshly, but things that were going to be hard for me to hear. They spoke the truth in love. They said the things that were going to be difficult for me to understand and hear, but I needed to hear. And they did it because they cared about me. They did it because they cared about me. If you ask me today, am I a son? I go, yeah, I am. I am. Part of my journey, no, a lot of my journey has been my faith. So I believe I'm a son to God. I also know that I'm a son to Dudley. And I now get to be a mentor, a father figure to some other people. That which was given to me, I get to go give back. I got to speak to a young man on the phone. Didn't have a dad in his life. Single mom, inner city, and young African-American boy. And I really liked him. And he joined the Navy. Well, he knew I was in the Navy. And so I was watching him getting ready for the Navy, and went and picked him up on his last night here in Jacksonville. It took him to the hotel where he's going to have to depart from to go to basic training, and sent him some notes, text messages to his cell phone, knowing he didn't have a cell phone during basic training. But when you look at it, when he got his phone back, he would see I was thinking about him. He's now in his IT school in Pensacola, and I spent about 30 minutes on the phone with him. You know what I said to him? I'm proud of you, young man. I'm proud of you. Every boy wants to know their dad's proud of them. I always wanted to know that. Always wanted to feel it. We're all looking for it. We're all looking for it. And so it's important that we have those people become that for us if we never had it. And that we give up the orphan mindset and we begin to live securely as sons and daughters. Because when I know that I've been a son and a daughter, that I'm loved as a son and as a daughter, your heart settles down. You live in peace. You're not striving all the time. Your heart's at rest. You find a home, in a sense, in those people in your lives. You notice a lot of people have a house, but they don't have a home. Did you get that? A lot of people have a house. They don't have a home. I have a house and I have a home. I hope my kids always believe that they have a home to come to. And that home is where mom and dad are, wherever we are. It's the quality of the relationships that says you have value, you have worth, you matter. We're all looking for it. We all need it. It's biologically hardwired into our being at birth and will be with us to the day we die. The orphan really lives a life of aloneness, disconnection, never really secure that they're loved and lovable. And what they don't know is they are. But those words were never spoken over them. I'm proud of you. You matter. You're a joy. I am such a blessed man to have you as a son. I'm a blessed woman to have you as a son or a daughter. We're all looking for those words. Do you get to give those words to others? Do you speak those words over your children if you're a parent? Do you speak those words of other people that you might see along the way? Is it something that you could give and invest in other people? I believe that's really the heart of true disciple making, true mentoring, is that we have people that we can speak those words over to and love as they are, even with all their foibles, even with all their challenges, even with all their quirks. They're at rest. that I know that that person over there loves me unconditionally, will never judge me. Had a gentleman fly down from up north to do his fifth step, which is the fifth step of the 12 steps, where you have to actually reveal to someone else all your character defects, all the ways you've hurt people, all the things you've done. And he said, called me up and said, I want to come do my fifth step with you. It's like, you're sure you want to fly? He goes, I want to. He goes, you're the only person I know, Rick, that won't judge me when you hear all that I've done. He goes, and I'm deeply ashamed of much of what I've done. And he was right. I wouldn't. And I didn't. And there was a lot there. Many, many, many years. Sexual stuff, drugs, I mean, all kinds of stuff. And you want to know something? When he was done, it's give him a hug. Say, I love you, man. What are you going to do about this now? Let's keep moving it forward. That's not who you are. That's just what happened. Those are decisions you made. He was never a son. He was never a son to his dad or his biological father or his stepdad or his mom. He was never a son. And so he's medicated that pain. The orphan in him has medicated that through alcohol, sexual conquering quests. But if you get past all of that and you see the real person inside, you see a really beautiful man. He's got a good heart, good man. But the orphan mindset just gets in the way, as it did mine, until I had to confront the orphan spirit inside of me. And I had to come to realization that there are people who love me as a son and that I have value and worth. And when I started to accept that, my heart settled down. And it's been a much more powerful way to live life since then. So, if you got an orphan spirit, get some help. Contact us. We'll help you if we need to. A lot of things we learn in the relate well process help you begin to challenge that part of you. We do individual intensives for people who have an orphan spirit. In 2 days, we'll start helping you confront the orphan mindset and reframe the thinking that's behind it and create a new way of being. You don't have to stay there. We're producing a lot of orphan minds today in the broken homes. Is it any wonder why our culture is so crazy and dysfunctional? Because orphans just do crazy dysfunctional things just to feel loved. It's that old song, looking for love in all the wrong places. I hope maybe this talk for you today has been encouraging, inspiring on some level. Have a blessed day, folks. Bye-bye.